Okay, tell me.
Yes.
What's your name?
My name is Alan Kipping Ruane.
That's a great name. What's the heritage of that?
That is Irish, German, and Dutch. My mother was born in South Africa, so when she came over, she had to change her name. So yeah, it's big, very Dutch Kipping, and then Ruane and is German and Irish. So yeah. It's a great name. It's a hyphenated name. It's great, so that nobody can ever find me. Background checks, credit checks. It has its benefits. But, yeah.
That's wonderful. So my understanding, tell me about, so you're in school now. So how are you paying for
Correct,
school?
Yes. So right now I run my own company, but on top of that, I also have the Montgomery or post 9/11 GI Bill, which pays 100% of my tuition at Penn State University. I go to one of their satellite campuses. So not only do they pay my tuition, they also pay housing according to the zip code that I live, the cost of living in the area. Along with that, I get, I think, $1,000 or $1,200 a year for books, supplies, tutoring, stuff like that. So that's paying for all of my school. And then, as I said before, I also do consulting, freelancing work as well. I present webinars online, stuff like that kind of helps my income. I live by myself, so I don't have very much expenses, to say the least.
So how long were you in the military?
Just over 5 years, or just at 5 years, yes.
And what branch?
I was in the Navy.
Navy. Oh, me too. 3 years, 12 and 9 days. Actually, I checked out in Philadelphia. I remember, and they stamped my papers. 3 months, 3 years, 2 months, 9 days. Yeah.
No party to say thank you very much for your service. All right, now leave. Get out.
Well, thank you too. No one ever said that 30 years ago. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And it's a little strange. I hear that all the time with the people here. I was in the Navy. Well, thank you for your service. Where you been for the last 30, 40 years? So it's nice. I mean, that's my thing about people coming back from the military. That's why I give speeches over at Walter Reed. Guys are coming back and they get beat up. See, to me, I believe that anybody in the military should be the first in line for any benefit we have. Not only the military stuff, but everything else. Somebody could put your life on the line. That they should be the first in line, huh? So you were 5 years, and because of that, they're going to pay for all your tuition.
Correct.
And what, you get 1,000 books dollars?
It's like 12,000. I'm sorry, not 12,000. It's like $1,000 or $1,200 a month. I'm sorry, a year for any books or supplies or anything like that. So it pays for all my textbooks.
And what was the other item?
And then I get a housing allowance. So in the military, you had the BAH. So it's the BAH rate in the zip code.
Wow.
So it all depends on the cost of living. Yeah.
So that's like maybe $500 a month or something like that. You get?
I get $1,250, close to $1,300.
$1,250 a month. Wow. So if you live right, you could use that for everything.
Exactly. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And now, plus, you have this consulting business. So what does the consulting business do?
So I'm actually a high-performance triathlon or endurance coach. So I coach professional triathletes, endurance athletes, age groupers, guys that want to do ultra marathons, cycling events, time trials, swimming events, all things in between. I do consulting as well for like nutrition for companies, things like that.
Oh, good for you. So were you a SEAL or something? Is that why?
I was actually a rescue swimmer in the Navy.
You're the guy jumping off of helicopters and stuff like that?
Yeah, just like the movie about the Coast Guard with Ashton Kutcher in it.
Yes.
It's pretty much exactly. Pretty much, yeah, exactly.
You to play that role, huh?
No, I had bigger and better things to do than film and movies.
That silly Hollywood stuff, yeah. Right. So what are you studying in school?
So right now I study kinesiology. So it's exercise science, movement science, biomechanics, physiology.
I see.
All kind of defined into one under the degree of kinesiology. So
you will stay in this, training business then, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah. I want to, hopefully in the next few years turn into a professional triathlete, but also want to be a continue my high-performance coach and also work with Olympians as well. So there's the next step to achieving that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long is the program at Penn State?
It is 4 years.
4 years.
It's going to take a little bit longer to graduate, but it's going to be 4 years, yeah.
Right. And where are you in the process?
I guess I'm technically a second semester sophomore. In my spring semester sophomore. I transferred with community college credits and Navy credits too. So
I see.
I'm technically a sophomore, but this would be my second actual year at Penn State.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. That's terrific. Did you grow up in Pennsylvania? Is that why you're there?
Yes, I grew up in Westchester. You may have been familiar. Have you ever seen the Jackass movies?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
That's where I grew up. Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm from Wilkesboro, so I know that.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Know it very well. My brother went to Penn State. Actually, my son now just did a half triathlon. He did his first marathon, a couple of months ago. He put on a bunch of weight, and then he was like 25 or something. And he's a big guy, about 6'4". And he said, I got to get this off. So he trained for a marathon, did his first marathon, I think, in the spring. Said, hey, this is fun. So he did a half a triathlon. And he said triathlons are better than marathons, at least a half.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I completely agree because when you start running for 2 hours, it kind of gets boring. Whereas when you're racing 3 events or 2 events, like a duathlon kind of thing, you're constantly changing in motion. There's everything. There's people around you, and it's really exciting. So
yeah, no, he loved it. And swimming we're in Washington D.C., so we swam in the Potomac River.
Oh yeah.
So he had a ball doing that. Yeah. So is that why you joined the Navy? Was because of this, or this was a bonus, or what?
So my backstory is I've actually been diagnosed with ADHD, adult ADHD. As a kid. So I struggled through through high school. Didn't graduate, but very struggled. College didn't really seem like the option for me.
I see.
So I actually went to go talk to the Army at first just to see, what they had to offer. Then I was a lifeguard for 3 years or 2 years prior to that, and I'd swam my entire life competitively since I was 6. I think I've learned how to swim before I actually walked.
So, cool.
So I was like, I'll do something fun while I'm in the military. Might as well make it fun. So I decided to be a rescue swimmer, jump out of a helicopter, save lives, and change the world. I mean, it was the best decision I ever made, and that's the only reason why I went into the Navy, because I didn't think college was for me.
Yeah.
It's funny enough, I never wanted to go to a community college. I never wanted to go to Penn State, and I didn't want to be close to home. And now I'm all three almost right. I've done all three.
We do change as we age, don't we?
Oh, yes.
Well, that's true. I mean, that's my feeling. It sounds like, you had a tremendous amount of responsibility in the military as a kid just out of high school, right? I mean, where else could you get responsibility of saving lives like that and training?
Oh, yeah.
And I was a kid out of college, and I, they gave me billion-dollar ships to drive around in the South China Sea, at 22 years old.
Yeah. They trust you, and it's phenomenal the kind of experiences that you get to achieve, the things you get to do, the people you get to meet, the things you actually get to experience.
Yeah, I mean, I always said I never had more responsibility again for the rest of my life. I mean, now I'm a 2-bit hustler selling stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, you're absolutely right, yeah.
And my kid now, I see the younger boy was involved in campaigns, and that's almost the same thing. He volunteered like in the beginning when Obama was starting, so he's one of the first people. And after 2 months, man, you're an expert. So they give you all this money and open offices and hire people. At 22 years old, he was spending all this money, and if he was getting a normal job, he'd be delivering coffee somewhere in Washington.
Exactly, yeah.
So military work, everybody poo-poos it, or government work, and man, boy, you just get experience that you can't get anywhere else.
No.
So now, all this money you get, you don't have to pay anything back, right?
I think the stipulation is if you fail a class that you have to pay back to pay back.
Just pay back that one class worth?
I think so. It's still... I still don't fully understand that rule, and it doesn't seem like, because I've heard other friends of mine. Well, yeah, I've heard other friends of mine that are taking the post 9/11. They failed a class or something, and they never had to pay it back. So I don't know if it's paperwork getting lost, somebody's looking the other way.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Exactly. Yes. But so you don't have to pay back anything at all.
Yeah. Oh, that's terrific. I mean, I guess during the Second World War, like my father's generation, I mean, everybody just went to school for free, and I think that's what really grew the country a lot, at that time. And education is the best thing to invest. Well, why do you think you're better at college now than you were 4 or 5 years ago when you decided not to go?
I wanted to be an engineer. I wanted to build bridges, fly airplanes, stuff like that. So not only was school hard for me in the first place, but I don't think I had my head on straight at that time. I needed a little extra time to mature a little bit as an adult and experience things, meet people. And I mean, when you're growing up, you live inside a bubble sometimes, and I think I needed to get out of that. And so I just don't think I was ready for college at all. I think even if I had gone, it wouldn't have been pretty. I may have dropped out or done something else, but
Well, I was like that. I mean, I don't know if you call it ADD, but I couldn't sit still. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't have a word for it there. I was just a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And I went to college. I barely got through. I mean, I hated every minute of it, tried to get out.
Yeah.
My father would let me.
But the thing is, the most successful people in this world have dropped out of college. Bill Gates, the guy that founded JetBlue, the guy that founded 1-800-GOT-JUNK. What do you call it? The guy, Richard Branson, never finished college, didn't graduate. Now he's a multi-billionaire. So, I mean, as much as people say you shouldn't drop out, make sure you're following something that you know is going to be successful or take those risks.
What I find the older I get is sometimes your heart is smarter than your brain.
Always, yeah, exactly.
And we're not trained to trust our heart. Yeah, we're trying, do the spreadsheet, and your heart, because the motivation really takes you to succeed. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean,
it's always about, like, if the hair on the back of your neck stands up, something's not right. Something doesn't feel right.
It's like a bad date.
Exactly.
In the first 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, this isn't going to work out. I got to go.
The first classes at school. Yeah, I would call my father once I'm halfway through college and say, I'm going to just join the military. I get out of this thing.
Yes.
It was going to, kill me, I think. So I struggled through. And then I went to the military, came back, and I was a straight A student. It was easy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sometimes
it just takes that.
Well, that's terrific. And so you have a lot of friends. Is there a cadre on campus of older guys like you that?
It's interesting. You can just tell when you see another veteran kind of thing. They're starting a group, like a veterans association, to kind of raise awareness, because it's a satellite campus. So kids only go here for 2 years and they go to main campus at Penn State. So you're surrounded by 17, 18, 19-year-olds that don't get the big picture. And a lot of kids that go to this school where I'm at are from this area too. They don't know anything else.
Super high school for them, right?
So there's a very young generation, and then there's an extremely old generation. I think it works out better in my case and for everybody else that's older too, because you're in college because you want to be there, not because your mom and dad told you you had to be there, or they're paying for your education. So if you fail, it's not your money. Right. Well, I served my time getting the money for this, but I want to be here to get my education. So I'm sitting in the front row asking those dumb questions.
Right.
And
you're getting your money's worth, man, because you're paying for it.
Yeah. The professor would rather help me out as an adult student because he knows or she knows how I'm struggling, compared to, average Joe, 17 years old, thinks he knows everything. And doesn't.
You admit you don't know. You're smart enough to admit it.
Yeah. I'll talk my way out of it, yes.
My son, the triathlon guy who's now in law school, and he worked like for 3 years or so before he went back to law school after undergraduate, and he says the same way in law school. The kids who went from undergraduate right to law school, they're sort of like different than the other people who have 2-3 years of experience.
Oh, yeah. You're treated differently and you act differently. You just, you start saying, oh, these kids everywhere. What do you know? And then you feel a lot older than you really are, right? Yeah.
Well, that's terrific. Well, I'm glad my tax dollars are paying for your education. You sound like you're going to be a great asset to the country. By the way, I just started another scholarship fund at a local community college called I Don't Need My Government Money Scholarship Fund. Because, see, there's old guys like me who get Social Security. I don't need that. I'm working. I'm going to work forever, and they're giving me the. I don't need. See, a kid like you could go to community college for like $1,000, and for fat cats, that's like 3 lunches.
Okay. If I had to do it again, I would have gone back to community college, pay out of pocket, and that way I could have had the military pay for a master's degree and continue on. So.
That's a smart thing, because you only get, 4 years or so many years?
You get 36 months. And then they will pay the highest public in-state tuition in that state. So if Penn State's $20,000 and I want to go to a private school that's $40,000, they only pay $20,000. Yet they have a program called the Yellow Ribbon. So sometimes they'll cover that extra expense.
What's the Yellow Ribbon program?
So Penn State, there's a few schools that belong to it, and basically the school will cover the extra expense of your tuition if your GI Bill doesn't cover it.
But you said the GI Bill will go up to that highest in-state tuition.
public in-state tuition. So
Public.
if Penn
State is a public school.
Yes, so they'll pay all of it. But let's say I go to a private school.
I see. So if you went to Lehigh or something like that.
Exactly.
And there were 40.
Yes, yeah.
They may kick in the rest.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for serving and more. I think you're going to contribute a heck of a lot more for the rest of your life.
Well, Matt, as much as you said 30, 40 years late, I should thank you for your service and all the help that you're doing for the community in your area, as well as giving us services and providing it online. So I can't thank you enough, for what you've done.
That's nice to hear. I'll give you my mom's phone number. You call her. They still don't understand what I'm doing.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, take care. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt, so much, and everyone else out there, take care.